Welcome back, you guys. We're talking with John Lundell, and we've been discussing the Rashneeshee camp out in Wasco County, which was also referred to as the Big Muddy. And before the break, we were going to talk a bit about the whole salmonella poisoning that I think they did on, was it salad bars? Is that sort of how they tried to introduce this?
That was kind of the second wave of any kind of damage that they could do, so to speak, to the first of all, we were always told they were going to do something to the city of the Dalles water supply.
Oh, okay.
And the city was involved with that. The director of public works who worked up in the watershed. Now the watershed is an open area of streams and lakes. So if somebody wants to go in there and do something, it was kind of an accident waiting to happen, but which it never did. But that was the thing the city really was watching out for, was to damage the water supply. And it's one of the things that made sure, along with federal regulations now, to where you have to have your water tanks covered. They have to be completely enclosed.
Mm-hmm.
So, but that was probably the first thing that went on. And the city manager and I worked with the director of public works, and it never happened. Thank goodness. But the poisoning at about 10 salad bars in town happened in September and October of 1984, and they had the salmonella strain that they got from some kind of a chemical place, I guess up in Seattle, Washington, and brought it down here and contaminated those 10 salad bars. I can remember really there were probably 3 or 4 that they really hit, but it's reported that they did hit 10.
Okay. Do you know how many people actually got sick?
There were reportedly 757, I think, were reported.
Wow.
As sick, of which 45 had to have hospital care to take care of it.
Were there any deaths?
No deaths.
Okay, well that's
no deaths. We were very fortunate there. Boy, there were no deaths or even anything close. But people were sick, and that was the first recorded bioterrorism act in the United States.
Really?
That's a very dubious distinction to have. But that was the first biotechnical
attack.
Yeah.
Wow.
On the terrorism.
Really?
Yeah.
When did they actually then disband? And weren't they raided basically?
Well, they disbanded in 1985. They virtually self-imploded.
Okay.
They came apart within their internal organization, and one by one they left. Prior to that, in 1985 and 1984, they brought busloads of homeless and scam marriages to pad the election return, the elections for various offices, and the county clerk's office was very good in handling that situation. They made sure that they crossed their T's and dotted their I's, so nothing was for chance. Because it was really getting ugly with all those people, and they brought them into town and just left them, and they fared for themselves. But it was a tough time then.
And they got people from all over the Northwest, right? They bust them in.
They bust them in, right? Yeah.
Isn't that
California?
They
They had them all over. It was very bizarre.
Right, very bizarre.
Yes,
exactly.
Just very, yeah.
Well, let's talk again about as mayor. You dealt with that, but you were also dealing with a recession and a lot of challenges going on during those years. What were some of the things that you had to deal with?
What was going on was that there, as far as the depression, was the aluminum industry, and Martin Marietta, who was owner of the business here in the Dalles at that time, were having trouble, and they shut down, and that just made so many people not be able to meet their commitments financially, sure. and it was a very tough time for a lot of people. The situation got bad enough, and thank goodness the city and the county leaders and other people that were involved with the aluminum plant. We made a trip back to Washington D.C. to lobby our legislators back there, and trying to get the electric rate adjusted so it was feasible to power the aluminum plant here. Also, at the same time of the recession, there was a water shortage of, I don't know, we were in dry years for some reason. And when I was mayor, I had to make a thing so that to get water at a restaurant, you had to ask for it. They
didn't just bring it to you.
We just didn't bring it out to try to preserve water.
Really?
And we were on water rationing for the irrigation of lawns and other things. It was a dry year. I forget what year, but that was one of those years in there, and we toughed it out.
Yeah,
got through it.
Got through it. Which I want to ask you about that, because we're in a recession now, unfortunately. And I want to hear a little bit maybe of if there's some comparisons and sort of some of the. Many of us are like, when is this going to end? Is there any light at the end of the tunnel? So we'll talk about that for just a brief moment when we come back from the commercial. So, guys, we'll be right back. Stick with us.